Hey, hey, hey! Pajama Grandma Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here with day 16 of our Supersize challenge. We are supersizing your business. We are mapping out the exact strategy you can use and you need to use to follow, because it's the same process for everybody, to supersize and grow your business and create whatever it is that you want. Yesterday we talked about the different possible strategies, right? All the different ways that you could strategize and the different strategies that you could put in place to supersize your business. Now keep in mind, you don't have to just pick one strategy and go with it. When I was supersizing my first business, my Italian food manufacturing business, I was like a shotgun. I did the shotgun approach. I tried everything and anything I could think of to grow and supersize that business. Primarily because what we started the business with was a philosophy or a strategy that was make a little, sell a little. Now, if you're selling Lamborghinis, not a bad thing, not a bad strategy. But when you're selling a food product, a handmade food product, even a special, awesome, best in the whole wide world Italian food product, handmade, no preservatives, you make a little, sell a little is not a growth strategy. It is a just make enough to get by and do what you want to do strategy, but it isn't a supersize your business strategy. So I actually had a transition from the make a little, sell a little strategy to massive growth supersize strategy. And again, I didn't start out modeling and taking a smart approach to it. I did the shotgun approach. I just looked at what was the biggest problem I had in my face right now that was slowing us down or causing us poor quality. We never had poor quality, but would be causing quality or consistent issues, or our ability to increase production or be more efficient and more effective. That was my initial approach. And so anything and everything I could think of that would help in those areas, those are the things I did. The first thing I did when I came into the business, because it was my personal background and experience, was look at all of the processes and from a production standpoint and a manufacturing standpoint, and I shored up and cleaned up all of them. Now, was it the smartest thing to do from a growth and supersize standpoint? I don't know, because that's the way I did it. I thought it was the best approach and it seemed to be effective, but maybe it would have been better to clean up or get more customers. I don't remember back then, but I know what I did because it was based on my knowledge and my experience and what I'm good at. And I do think that it did serve us really well, because we could go out and at any time we wanted, we could acquire more customers, because by cleaning up and shoring up our processes and procedures and making sure they were as efficient and effective as possible, and making some engineering changes to do some of the things that took forever in the process, that made it so that we could actually produce and do a lot more. Otherwise, we might have reached our capacity sooner, but there's always a way to increase your capacity too. So, did you do your 15 minutes? Did you look into some different strategies? Did you find a strategy that appeals to you? Because one of the things we want to do is we want to pick the first strategy, which was the point of that whole little rant, to work on, to start implementing in your business. Well, I like to map out a whole strategic ladder, I call it, a growth ladder that will take you from where you are, point A right now, to point B, where you want to be in a longer term perspective. And then I figure out with you, and we figure out, or you figure out in this instance, because we're doing a challenge, where do you want to, where do you want to go, but what steps can you take to get there? Because you got to break it down. You can't go from A to B with the snap of our fingers. Wouldn't that be awesome? But we really don't have the ability to do that yet. We have to work our way up to that and progress to it. But we can do that really fast if we pick and choose the right strategies along the way. My son and I were actually chatting yesterday, and he gave me a really good example of an acquisition strategy for growth that I loved. And it was actually an acquisition strategy that builds out what I'm talking about, the different rungs on your growth plan. And it's the Volkswagen Group. And he was talking about, because he's a car guy. Now, I'm not a car person at all. So this was something I had never thought about, and something I didn't know. I know, for example, in the food industry, about mergers and acquisitions and who's bought who and who owns who and things. I only know some of it. I don't follow a whole lot of that anymore, but I used to know a lot of it. And he was explaining to me that the Volkswagen Group also owns the Audi brand, Audi, A-U-D-I. They own Porsche. They own Lamborghini. And he said he thinks they might even own Bentley. And so, you know, Bentley and Lamborghini, I'm not sure which car is worth more money. I'm not sure, probably. I don't know. If car people set me straight. But there's an example of mergers and acquisitions that the Volkswagen Group has made to build out their entire value ladder. And why are they doing this? Because they know that there's customer groups and they can get and reach more customers and meet their needs and solve their problems by acquiring those brands and acquiring those businesses and making them all part of their individual group umbrella. So there's all different ways that you can grow based on the strategy that you want to do first. So in the Italian food business, we actually looked at franchising, once I got the systems and everything in place, I investigated franchising, I investigated mergers and acquisitions, I looked at purchasing other Italian food manufacturing businesses, and then I had my sudden cardiac arrest, so none of those things ended up being put in place. But I did look at those as strategies. We pretty much followed the natural, organic, internal increasing sales by serving our customers better approach. We formed a few partnerships, but not a lot, but that was how we supersized that business. So what of these strategies appeals to you the most? And then I like to think about the strategies with a couple of criteria. Number one, which one do I feel is the right one for me? Which one do I feel in my gut? Because I will tell you, the best decisions are made when we listen to our gut. Can argue with me on that, but I got 40 years of experience of not doing that and doing it. And every single time I have not listened to my intuition, I've made the biggest mistakes of my life. Picking the wrong partners in both love and business and in vendors and suppliers and things like that. So how do you feel about the strategy that you're picking? What strategy, what can you do that is easy, inexpensive, or cost effective and fast to get you results? I always pick I always ask myself, what is the next thing that I can do to move that needle the furthest toward where I want to be, to where I want to go? And sometimes we look at our organizations and we see a blatant outage. We see something that is right in our face that we haven't noticed before, and we're like, okay, before I can do any of this other stuff, I need to fix this one thing, or I need to change this one thing. Or maybe there's somebody you can partner with that can take care of that for you immediately and make a huge difference in your business. But think about the different strategies we've discussed and that you investigated, and pick the one that you can, number one, either that you urgently need to do, or if you urgently need to do, you probably feel strongly about it. So urgent, easy, quick, fast win, inexpensive to implement, and that you feel good about. And we are going to then work through the steps that you exactly go through to put this to work in your organization over the next few days. But pick the one based on those criteria that you feel the best about. So me, for example, in supersizing my business, because I'm supersizing my business as well, I haven't picked one. I guess I'm working on it, but I'm doing and there's online in different ways of approaching things too, but I'm actually doing an online strategy. I am adding an online component to my consultancy so that I can reach more people and help more people to supersize their businesses and make the world a better place, because that's what I'm all about. So that is actually the strategy that I'm pursuing, and I will discuss that further in my share of what I'm doing to supersize my business. That's it. Sorry about that. Have a fabulous day. Get excited about this. Get excited about how quickly and easily, and I'm talking, it can be easy. If you pick the right thing, boom, you can have a win by tomorrow. I'm not even kidding. It happens that fast. I've had folks that actually have results in like under an hour, depending on what they pick to work on. And that's how easy it can be to fix some of these things, or to improve some of these things, or to supersize your business. That's it. Have a fantastic day. Talk tomorrow. Bye.